Say do the idea wo fifiri.
Nti meko so ato ejana.
Nti ejana de sagas no wamo ante do ajana na yebeto na yebeyenden. Na samanto jana na chede mbebu ada na. Ejana na mbeto.
Antimuni era watno enkran anka ya antimuni wachi. Where antimuni oyetuo zafi. Eti TZ. Eti wasi ejaro wo meko so ato efiri se LPG no boy dey.
Mom TV as well. Yeah, but you miss the them the boy. Only in Ghana. Just only in Ghana now because Michelle non crew now be drop 91. Only in Ghana. Ebe we di mura. Eti abusia for Facebook Live pa 979 and Facebook TV XYZ Ghana. The chi miete onka wadwenkyere no nsusu ye. Titi so ya ban dwuma ye nia. And then a dana ye baby sound common here no. Yatise bibi di neutrality allowance and I say clocks out for so say buy a catch munsema as a yachiche mu ebi mu di asa e come here so almost so cheye it omo di omo jacket boom boom and ebi mu so jenkete it is a buy ye bibi anfa ho e betu ntesukoko afa trade union congress so di behwe ma o say ohwe eye inflation na ye ni number over 19%. Ghana binds one year bibi and found say no more boy a dear one shot bibi besti a wono when in home and I no pay na bibusa say it's trade union congress no more ebra na 11 zanzam ebay ebra na yesika samada na ebutu na wochira ba na obi complain that time na trade union congress away but then again me trans din am ka say what's the first May May day it is a ya bedroom May day dia and is it the case miyenka bibi said be ya ne da na eba no be fa na e question bi a ye busa anopay e wo Dwabo Ase dwumadie yi so kai say wa bra nkomo no so be ba na wie ye na asa ne ye be kono ye be kasafa abuse of power ye di tumi aso nsem Ghana for to santra to aba amaw se bra be hwe ye man so be siesie man no man tumpon na wodi tumi e kwa amanfo nsa wodi tumi e tata temamufo wodi tumi ene state resources state security awo e de tata temamuni bia e de pa na kire but before as ankomo no beba no because hono ye betin te wansa na yakọ adwumayefo diem yentie Pastor Dr. Mensa Otabel enra wa sorry dem na akoganti obi ena na wode afutu obi ma na afutu do de mae no emu do party ade we.
God is good in himself, in his nature, in his character. God does not derive his goodness from us neither does he derive it from his other creation. God is good by himself, within himself. So his goodness is from himself. And it manifests in so many ways. God's goodness manifests in so many ways, and I'll talk about 3 of them. First is his purity. God is pure. He has no moral weakness. He has no moral weakness. You know, when powerful people have a moral weakness, their power works to our disadvantage. If somebody is very powerful but has no goodness in them, their power works to our disadvantage. If they have a moral weakness, then they will use their power to execute the moral weakness. So if somebody is very powerful naturally, and he likes, if he's a man, he's a president.
If he's a president, he's a man, and he likes I'm coming out here the best also no what your campana who gan wo honti be you sure so what ni nyina what say morning nyina kosi ewe say ye di tumi a show nsem na wo di tumi no ye no ma bi no no ma tumi no eda ne bibi ewo man no so asema pastor Dr. Mensa Otabel kind no akogan deputy communications officer Emma NDC Amadoko mama no achina me mara kwa ba akogan akwa ba
Yenua.
Netizano pay. Okoi dia ni akonya info. Papa. Esaso de Manchester de kotoko so fa.
Ne say ho.
What's say?
David ni say am fasa.
Sao. You be this akomoro. Aveso Azubila
eno amuchire mu bi kakra ho.
Oh say. Zakomoro be say ene dia be person be di kotoko ho komo. Azubila Emmanuel Abdul Salam and Executive Secretary anchoring Democracy Advocacy Movement Ghana Adam GH. Azubila Mache netizay. Nice one. And now go sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Zao. Also for so anke be busy. Wan ke be am for abuse of power. Cause asem ne nam from mu ye dia and nam from be quite simple. Nanu ya obabi ba eya barefoot interview so ne abante bi o wa broche ono so ye nsentwani eni nko e friend oba ne friend say wa broni. Enko mo twetwe eni nyina kosi se yonko fa bi ye namfo sem bi mpaso agro ho nsem bi akokokoko so wenya nsem a waka to mampanyi so na ni nyina gowie se mampanyi tumi a won nsem no wagina so e de bon entre ha to the sense ye ma national security fo bi di gunu so ebe bewia no amanfo bebowura the hotel dime wa bra won se obi ase wonye sa e ma sa se bi krampu kopie eye CID office a CID pani ene se wa broni na abante bi a friend no hopes na doya ne ho bon wasem ni mu no mu di ano e wo CID office ho ene otabela se mi hia pa beboa Azwila.
Yes, and him say Dr. Mensa Otabel de eba political sermons I now ya de ho. Now this is not the first time or can bibisa na and him say previous administration the preachings ni bia na or the baye e bibo bi so ampo na na
no but asem na nkasa.
Looking at what he said, I agree with him 100%.
Any the costly.
It's not even political leaders. Be it if you are imam, if you are a pastor, if you are president, whatever position I want, say woman immorality take over. Bibia say. Entina enfan say secondary school. Now headmaster now was secondary school hono. Immorality or we nkwala.
When I
say we nkwala na.
I know I can't
to make cancer every Ghana, I say if I headmaster every Kolana and Kolana's classmate for an schoolmate for a start and then Kolana Disa agronibia. Or to me, action mason. That is what I think the Reverend is talking about.
I think that by popular request, I'm for almost a Facebook Live now. Almost dear to a Ghana web. I'm for say Yensen Sisubio. Yes, Sisubio. Pastor Dr. Mensa Otabel. Nancy more kind. Yes, NTB, nothing, and common young fashion and twasso.
God is good in himself, in his nature, in his character. God does not derive his goodness from us, neither does he derive it from his other creation. God is good by himself, within himself. So his goodness is from himself. And it manifests in so many ways. God's goodness manifests in so many ways, and I'll talk about three of them. First is his purity. God is pure. He has no moral weakness. He has no moral weakness. You know, when powerful people have a moral weakness, their power works to our disadvantage. If somebody is very powerful but has no goodness in them, their power works to our disadvantage. If they have a moral weakness, then they will use their power to execute the moral weakness. So if somebody is very powerful naturally, and he likes, if he's a man, he's a president, he's a king, and he likes women, he's going to use his power to execute that moral weakness. He's going to take people's wives from them. He's going to take people's things from them. If he's greedy, he's going to use his power to take people's properties from them. So power is great, but if there is no goodness in the power
and to me the end, then so the akani new moody any agogan at the end of Becoso.
Kwame, Meda Sinomechia, Yahweh ne power TFO, you know. Them say, Reverend Dr. Mensa Otabil, Nasemi, it is not just timely, but make us say, Yasema Emu Dupa. When we are talking about people in power, I want us to get a pictorial evidence of who we are talking about. Ye naya kwa koto abano. Ye wotumi ye di chusu ni ayepe. Ye nyina ya ka ye tumi ebomu e de ama nanado dankwa ekufuado. Sesi ayenyensa ehye yenchi. That is how powerful the presidency is. Ye nyina ye tumi no ye de ama no. And if you have somebody ye de tumi ye bibia akwa hyenensa na oye very immoral. And no na Reverend Dr. Mensa Otabil say, "Sa to me na ye di amano no or the baba jiji." But
why not define say way moral and I say way immoral? Why was that 2 minutes or betre?
I know nature say, "Near obeye no, ena ebechere usu ene oban." Or Kabibi say, if the president is a womanizer, he will even take your wife from you. Usha sewa bruni tape na. Oka say, yes, it's unfortunate say, or yeah, say bisexual or say one you. Oka say, ninkomo nyina no say, me name girlfriend. Na patch so ono de wagye atum say wa worry. But president say wo na me pew. Obi eyere anaso obi kunu kwano oje efrewu nsem. That is the state of Ghana today. Usika shall bottom levy. Dr. Mensa Otabil say, because of the immorality of the president, or simi dimin sabe tu bottom usika efrewu nsem. Wo property, president say, meje wo property ewo wunsem. Even wunkwa me pa meje wunkwa efrewu nsem. Look at what happened to Sewa Bruni. Or say, Sankenye so oye Canadani, na Canada force so ema miensa abaga na ya kidnap omwa. He had to take omwa ankasa to come here to retrieve those enkwadano. Sankenye sa anka ye jenenkwa efrininsem. That is the level of abuse of power. And another danko ekufado trendy for yesterday's message from Dr. Mensa Otabil. It was very timely, and we thank God for his life. And some
general football.
Yes,
when yes, or trouble be.
Menka yo binka sobi. On say I say nipa boni ni ti asore na so full preacher say menyanka kwa me ti asore nka we de akoma no. Nya no bi ni yake.
What the asore dem 103.
Oh, say what ti asore dem na say Be pressure. What was I saying? Yeah, as much as I say,
wow.
But ideally, we are Christian and one can so what farmer because you say obi about you say no. Now would the enunsu men sakra in Sinche. Into this issue about immorality no. Some be a year to about we don't look at the person that we are talking about. For me, these things are revealing a lot of things. Kane nanka obehu say ebi in katoso. What you say? Yeah, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama in katoso fita.
But we say what the in katoso.
Oh, say wa aba
ono na be kan asem.
Wa aba be kan, you see, wa aba be kan. Or the one omampeni text message aba be chere. Hopes in adoye ene tiwa ene say wa broni akomo office recording. Oh, so why?
Yen katoso. Vero, azubila majon kan asemi ho. Na fe yen kwen.
Yeah, ansa na me sha se no pese me chia massive akon.
Na kafra.
Massive wo be say enzema kangbele. E me say akwanche pastor ne we ne ho do don kakra na otwe mu. E me say sia no ho ye. One Mr. Haruna Musa.
Okay.
E me say e da me say starting the fasting. Na ebon pa say sa bosu konkra e wo mu no. Yankopon be tie ne mpa bo na bibia koyi. Yampa ye can immorality ada say Islam and I say Christianity.
No, but buy about to my asem here.
Asem here pa.
Oh really? I'm not for also the two about Ghana.
Penina we penia. Bisa won say enipakuo ben ana wodi o manim.
Kok me too.
So we penia bisa won say enipakuo ben na wodi o manim. Christopher Muslims. Traditionalists. San kromfu we na wodi o manim nti ade a ya chiwade e wo man ni mu no se ukoya na wabu o man ni nyina nimtia no me nso na o man mu ni nyina regardless of faith no also etia nti emre aso se yentumi nkasa nche yempeni fama mo ntia se wo tumi a so wo hwe tumi ni because enya wo asomampeni se men ana me John Mahama ana me na me na nado me na me mampeni ntini me pe na me ye Ghana nyina eso sa ukoye bibi na se edimpa de magana sa ukoye bibi na se aniwuo nso a aniwuo de magana enti na ya na ye pese ye mpanimfo no their moral standards should be very high enti na akwese wono fara tifie na se be sebe obeti na se monchi se adanya ye so sebe mpede sa o fada akorepi obeyire ene ye pam no wani nwu
na one be determines our moral standard why yen society no
moral standard and standard Ghana ni okwakoto aba ayi obi no one se wo ye Islam ay so make sure se nipa na oba no omba emma o faith na wo ewo nyame mu no every wonsem we Christian nipa no omba abuse o faith se nipa na traditionalist nipa o to abayi no omba abuse. These are some of the things I hear even morally no en kola esua yese akan kasa yese omudi
ani mu no
esua omudi chire
esua de odi ani
nantie enti en kola no esua a lot from us. That is why as a father I have to sacrifice certain what do you call things that I do just because I want my children to learn certain moral values. Exactly. Inti enyema bi ohono ma menye ebia me mofra bim na meye enne me wo abofra a wo hwe me enti eninti no enyema bi ohono ma menye enye se bia mentumi nye na emmom me mpese abofra ne be hia saa ne ma bone no na ono so ne daache akoye eyi enti ye mpanimfo no emre adu se meti se obroni asemi na me fi se bi ade na agro na me take me time etie audios follow ye. Now as a civil society organization, no, we are much worried about why the whole state we provide security. I think the national security around the presidency, all of them need to be fired. No matter what, they need to be fired. The disgrace and the embarrassment that as a nation we are going through is not only the president. As a national security, we pay them to protect our president at all times. You need not to allow ladies with these immoral ladies. Who even connected this immoral lady to the president. And yet Nancy and fight against lesbianism. No more kofa oba or no lesbian. And they are bantay president. Ne one can say the bedroom penida. Not gay wage na ho extra selfie. Private jet omo hanya na ye kase ne boy den. I didn't say private jet. Almost say or person or no, say our president was bathing in the air together with a side chick. Look at Mama Rebecca. Very beautiful lady. And we are some on Naka, but but question back on business minority. And Elikem Kotokone na Pamfo Mukrate ya Bakotre and the Akotum Rashe fee the minority in so more yeno. Azubila Bibi Papa bit me from Maba. I arrange him. Sir petitions, you know. I agree with it 100%. As a civil society organization, you know, yes, so we are going to follow up and make sure say sir petition if they have to impeach the president. Understand say you can morality. Say eba say you impeach president na enye asensudie. Na ochira bi obi be diga na mampani na wa hu say akunya no enya kunya ye de bochacha enya kunya ye de bodwaman enya kunya ye de ye enioma sebe nsem fata eya kunya edimu ye so mampani a say me na abonte na say me call other different countries here me bo me di say I'm a Ghanaian no coat of arm no I make say I'm a Ghanaian no mampani na teso and this all the fee because coat of arm now I feel so ashamed to even call myself a Ghanaian. And we will not allow people immoral actions to deny us our citizenship. But the question is, Bibi Papa be free maba. Bibi Papa be free maba. But I say, Mami fa ako Ghana member. Papa be free maba. You see the way you be starting no. You don't pay way e being see that. E be taking members of parliament. E be to go through. Runankasa wa resign that. Because there's no embarrassment. Embarrassment way. For our members, it's just taking it. Things, you know, about an idea. Yes, people have that fear. So the Supreme Court itself has not been favorable to NDC's cause and idea. That's people's fear. No, that's what I mean. They cannot block it because if you have 1/3, you cannot block it. What you are saying. But say you best select a fair team to go and then look at it, you know. And Crawford so ne a friend saying say Wabroni Ekasa because it's the witness. Inti say Ebebaswa, it means that she must get protection to come to Ghana. And then piano. You be your institutions. Say ye executive, say ye parliamentary, say ye judicial. Ye be ye suban ayedete o my Ghana. The media brutalities in Ghana are BBC. Miss Swing. Baby ye free aba yababe ne. Must this thing be said about us? Utie na nadu wasem totally different from Enema. Oh yeah. And then BBC. I think it's about 80 minutes was saying, you know, yadeja adabonte. And people are thinking, say, yes, Emrano cry you use against media crano 1960 Emra. And if we sit down, voila. Okay, Yantwaso, Ghana and 70 P na but the idea to the power and come to tremo and ne efa abayin ejumaya for. Constitution says civil servants should remain apolitical. So why should they get paid for something they signed up for? The justification for this demand and the subsequent unjustified strike is that members of CLOCSAG are not benefiting like the public servants who are able to partake in politics. So Ghana has become a cake being shared. Thinking about these can make one unpatriotic. One can easily regret being called a Ghanaian. Some came in the message way every Maryland or Sabria, Yakasa, Zubili Meshas through the CLOCSAG. Yeah, the teams in the end about battle, but yes, as every CLOCSAG. Or more than we say a back at I say Yimubia Bem. And then there's also the issue of this neutrality allowance. Neutrality allowance na ediade. Yo, some care drop out say me who say Ghana for kasa say na ya na medi nipa ho yawo. Because as a worker myself and a civil servant, looking at what we go through in our various offices. Almost from 2020 up to today, the price of goods and services is now so far, almost 100%. So far, a bag of cement in Port de Bay and Fatsonwa, the price of cement has doubled 100%. Not civil servant, we have not received any significant salary increment from 2020 up to date. Me catch no aketua na yeji 2020 no wetima kase the same amount and yeji nene. Wo hwe se ne Ghana nyumayfo e fa yawo mu. Last 2 weeks ago moti say teacher ni akoku ne yere adenti a maame ne say onkonkoye no ho ade. No say 4% salary increment I ma me 2021. Any 7% I me 2022 ne de ware ma ne yi. Ne yere so teacher ni ono so teacher ni ntawantawa oku maame no. Wo hwe domestic violence. Wo hwe workers e de amokom. In fact mobo. And you see, I feel so sad. Say, it's like a juma. Send a juma ma or my Ghana no. And nipa and shada and who value. Name mum omo the neutrality allowance. Mama, explain what neutrality allowance is all about. It's just a name. Others may decide to call it whatever they want. In 2018, near war and Cronphobia omo members of local government. Omo contested both NDC and MPP parliamentary primary CB. A bidding contest assembly membership, we are not in assembly man podi, and yet partisan policy, apolitical. Omo contest omo samba no local government esaki omo free, a human say, and yes, we hear politics. And you can get that from Article 94, Clause 3B, Section 26. State say a civil servant cannot do partisan politics.
Yeah.
In the same clause, Emra.
Okay.
In the same clause, as stated, security service, civil service, fire service, immigration, all those security services, we say young to me in politics, and we are entitled to allowance.
and I'm someone your politics,
No, it's an allowance. It can be allowance for political victimization. So I would say civil service here. No, mean to me any politics. ABA in my community, I'm the best person to be assembly member. And because I'm a civil servant, they said I cannot do politics. It's not about making money from politics, but it's about pursuing my other career alongside the work I do. A teacher can be a teacher and at the same time party communication member. MPP or NDC constituency chairman or constituency executive. Nobody sacked him. So he cannot go and request for any neutrality allowance.
It's a pure neutrality allowance. So
in this case, in 2018, Supreme Court released because workers, we are entitled to civil service and security. We are entitled to this neutrality allowance now. Obi a okoye partisan policy bi yensa aka no ntie sake o mana anu no ntie rule against local close like any san nkrofo no. And all they can say okay, then if that is the case, whatever that allowance is, whether it is neutrality allowance, non-partisanship allowance, or it is whatever allowance that we are not being benefiting, but the punishment associated to it, we are subject to it. And then who be here say, requested.
Okay.
What I said before, last year, you demonstrated your tamale no. Now your argument and say you pay salary increments, any cost of living allowance. From 2020 up to today, America said, I increase over 100%. No, any expectation union leaders no, they should go and negotiate for cost of living allowance. They want because of the cola. Name no for everything best to them. Decided say talk talk because Supreme Court ruling now and no I there a hang on. Into me they na shall but yeah say they are sacrificing in 2020 up to now no. Ever COVID-19 2019. Ejuma ni bia ni Ghana ha a sacrifice. We know Article 71 office holders. Increase salary to what? 79%.
What sacrifice will come back so? I mean, about neutrality allowance na. Fair de wucheche mwatre no credit back. So politics are munyenti any mama allowance. Yes, sir.
We mama mu Supreme Court.
Yes, and would di mra so adenti no see tuaka.
Adenti na man for eka efa allowance no. Hwe ye wo Article 71 office holders. Omuji clothing allowance. Clothing allowance or if you on shata there. One number deja. Who quit you maintain a buy mount clothing allowance. Your mom was sitting allowance. What if you were general throughout the day? One tanase. And I'm so you maintain the same amount of sitting allowance. And one I come for them. Your mom entertainment allowance. Penny maybe say at this my age, me call entertainment. Me the last time I see me call nightclub and I say and I said but Omuji this impending for Article 71 office holders say. And then Omudi small girls say what bring my account say. Omuji entertainment allowance. And no what they contain why or they entertain small girls here. Yem ranchana youth even holding masters and first degree pono. Here entertainment allowance and can enjoy no. We are not benefiting from it. Omuji accommodation allowance. Omu fear omuda bonting.
What's I?
Omu fear impending for no.
So fear.
Omu fie omu saje accommodation allowance ade aye bufo kwampo omu ji inconvenience allowance. What do you mean by inconvenience? Inconvenience like what? You pay inconvenience trafira die han akase kokoye ejuma omu ji all these allowances. Civil servants, we are not entitled to any of these allowances. The first time me who say allowance e kan say me sa neutrality omu ji ade aye fe no omu aduane e free food allowance free, fuel allowance, coupons, cars allowance, maintenance car now where yes man no free no car no maintenance allowance. Hey my brother, and this person
they don't so much way nyina ntina chinchina mo say neutrality ntina mo say neutrality allowance yan fama mo
no when I say increasing na me to 79 na me nje we no mu nyina no am me 4%.
Na mo can neutrality allowance
that is why nobody have interest in the civil service simply because a honor kwadane say okohonoma no be useless, and we are the reason why Ghana is moving. Without civil service activity na kwete say wono mame ofie anaso wono yire ofie, you will not know the importance of your wife or your mother until her absence.
Okay, mesa about time mame fa ko Ghana mran komonim is that na kwese say wode ma yaboadi no e was kwa menka so nya bi sa na de na kwaye. So who allowances where you know? Yes, you have to pay neutrality allowance. Mamu nya hu dede.
Oh, Kwame, for me, civil servants no. Omusika omugino. Nyamisi enka no kre. Isa. Se eyade omuje salary increase enade a. Many omo eya adwene. You see, what people are fighting against is a din ayadiatoso neutrality allowance. For me,
any drama
exactly.
I mean, we in fact we did mraswa. I didn't know see exactly.
But don't forget to say, encrophobia so etuebi, encrophobia ejibi. Oshe Article 71 office holders. Ene eniyama MPP baye omede ababeka ho a. Kabeka say omode na omoje no krade anka ensan so ndobo no ema wonom. Se Minister of Works or kwakwa inspect a dine. Ne dani abrosan ya or the height allowance.
Oje dey
height allowance.
Ah bibi sa ho.
Yes.
Se dine no wa
Nti ofo akwako inspect at the what second floor na.
Hey!
Height, yes.
Me engineer no, me any height allowance.
Engineer na only oka minister ho onye bi o civil servant onye.
Wow.
But minister no. Oh, MPP by name of the account. Say omo san so je kilometric allowance.
And also the dey.
So oko Kumasi akwakoye inspection na. Say fiti ha Accra air economy says about 270 kilometers. In Tebe calculate 270 kilometers. Every kilometer or cover biya no. Or just one allowance. Owie na say
In and
on na. So say 270 Tebe or kwabanti times 2. So at this sano na say obeda. Yetua night allowance. Esanso etua hotel allowance at the kahun bio. Kwame, the awoji civil servant ena oye hu adwuma. Civil servant oye hu adwuma no ohunu. Ono so komode no. Some of the 71 office holders and so no, they retire on their salary. Ain't it upon wa retire na se or kofia. The salary original say 60,000 bosomia and they didn't your pension 60,000 or the coffee. Say 80,800 million or coffee in no the 800 million and a emano a coffee. Into for all his life no odi saa sika na ewu na bisa ho sɛ nti neutrality allowance na anka crossack for edge no na anka bɔne bɛɛ na ɔmoayɛ kane na yɛtɔ fuel 14 Ghana cedis do mama breso ɛna yɛtɔ no 50 cedis Auto petrol and the abayin eduma. Yeah, man.
Director say for 2 cedis in the
52 cedis. Me that say. And the petrol gallon baako. Ni salary so the etia no sana etia. Inti no, me no, I don't have a problem with the salary demands and all that. My personal problem, they say, neutrality ne dear sebe. Omunye neutral.
How many neutral?
Civil servants.
Civil servants.
Omunye neutral. And they cannot.
Oh, by just omundi mrana so.
Oh, me dem mrana kasa mi hui. Na ma compare so mu this one na so mu ni so.
Se mo form won she amanyo se mu.
Omo de omhu she mu pa.
Okwan be so.
You see, yaka politics edie na yaka about politics. Sebe, yes, ebia unhunu se makwakoje MPP card and say NDC card. And so near me community, me yedima NDC and say me yedima MPP no. Yenim yahu ewo brono so. You understand? Sebia obi eba beye friend say electoral commissioner ni yesi anka nse so mo ye neutral. And so omo ye recruitment yenim se no mo ye no based on the party line. NDC na say say kwapia na aboa na ne dwan yera ye wan kwankopai. But MPP for the
Ogasa yenima te say obaye say adansidie bi wo ho e kire say omo ye na long party lines
bebre hwe ahun say me assembly member ewo Accra Metropolitan Assembly for 4 years. For time and I me winning elections no and I say assembly elections so it's in between your friend is saying presidential elections. Into me winning a 2 years time then this is also a buy. So I served under Ajiri Blankson and then Oko Vanderpoy. Yeah, you war office on you civil servants or more on but you NDC for more. You MPP for or more. Sometimes be a decision be about some near baby take here. To be fraying. I deal with more peninsula, a behamo party no, a be higher party no, a be and say you. We know. But you see, it makes us human beings.
But is it not the case that we are not being real?
We are not being real.
I say said that
exactly.
Yeah, they exactly. Can't normal.
Mammy, more typical example say. On the 7th of January, I have swear members of parliament in. High Court, Cape Coast. A ruling. Or your ruling no around 2 o'clock. After na judgment no, ye babe type. Ye to me type ye. Emma no bedru parliament. Emma clerk of parliament. E to me a receive ye within 30 minutes. Into no, one more ye juma wo oho nyina so ye civil servants. Judge ndo ye neutral, one ruling ewie, watro ni ruling ewie. Wa ba be kan. Ese ye type it. Ye type here. Ye de bema ye friend say judicial service for mo dispatch for the from say omo chiche you know bailiff. Ye de bema bailiff. Ono so oye ye friend say civil servant. Na bailiff no afaka every Cape Coast e de aba enkran. Or the bank cry and so no be loki parliament house. Wakwa clerk office no akwa serve clerk. That chain na civil servants and I say aban edumayefo. Sebi influence be any such chain ne so a. Sebi plane kura free Kumasi eba. It take 45 minutes.
Is neutrality near questionable? It's
questionable.
Okay,
but you know, pay crime be so omo salary increase no we support say salaries no is so why you be fast one salaries no akosro no and you see sometimes when they are interested in allowance and not a year because allowances no omuntua tax
but e bi mo je I didn't know omo
that is why I'm saying fair wages crown a problem. Our wages are not fair. And so abra under Professor Mills and John Dramani Mahama. Yade your friend is saying single spine airbano. One of the things are not yet targeted. And they say exactly. No, but the implementation of the giant or signing and or the teacher we have to use tact, diplomacy to make sure say you be to me arrive at a fair wage irrespective of baby hour. Because and then I say who Ministry of Finance, you local government workers. But you post to echo Ministry of Finance. Wala once as Abequaconia ewohono is totally different from me you're supposed to me to an assembly and now say be a community somewhere. So where lies the fairness that we wanted to? Single spine no a pedia ni mu eba asruni na no. It was because you say uniformity across levels. But unfortunately, we are about to square one.
Okay, square one your way. But neutrality allowance no. Wabra ye advanced conversation. Question me busan say ene ye tie. Che ni ntia. E was a chinchina ake. Also say neutrality allowance no. Civil servants benefit. Che
ni ntia hu hia se benefit neutrality allowance. Say send me bra panika yi. It's not even about the name. Others can choose to call it neutrality. Others can choose to call it risk allowance. Good. The security services are enjoying it. And the Supreme Court ruling no actually say because you enjoy this allowance, you cannot take part in partisan politics. And I am penning for the council. Oh, really? A whole punishment aspect na woman de. Omude de. Ne mom sa a whole allowance na mukano. Yenji bida. And the necessary na te dia. And the young con very good. No, and you she say Supreme Court ruling and I say Emra. She said be Emra can say
security agencies
benefit.
And a momo dear.
We are civil service dear.
If you're no friends and you
I'm fine.
Okay.
And to see and I say sign a tedia. Mrana chiche say untumiye politics. Obi acquire politics and Yasaka one evidence no hono. They call Supreme Court. Supreme Court say Yasako because you see want to mean your politics. Esan say even allowance be what by three amount say men your politics. So what quite they Yasako. And they say just allowance in they say who here say make say okay. Me person me dimra no so. Enti ne civil service yes see and say ye person e di Ghana mra no so. Supreme Court ruling any mra na abeda ho sisi ano. Ye person your politics.
Okay.
Say obi ko politics asake yen. Na emu ye need to allowance no so no. Yeji.
Because Imran say
adeba kwa person me make sure man for eka no. Neutrality allowance na eye tema close at 4 and a generate based on ruling no.
But term no and then say Imran city and
already article 94 we na make na. Oman state oman can the categorical say a neutrality allowance but oman say there is an allowance. Ambulance service, prison service, any parliamentary clerk, and we are entitled to it. But mind you, are there a civil service for ne? And even about neutrality allowance.
Yeah, they
any impending for now based on a year employer, you know. Since 2017 up to today, this administration by not that I'm being biased, but as a worker, I'm affected. Our union leaders have been so stooge. Another arm of government, who some ministers of employment too, because they are not acting, they are not speaking workers our language.
How?
Last year, almost tripartite committee meeting for last year. Eco negotiated give 4% to one country and so this is what we are going. They didn't even ask us. They didn't seek our consent. When they even went and came, they didn't tell us we have gotten this and do you accept or not. Even when no impose on us, and you hear TUC Secretary General Dr. Yamanto Deba openly defending government because of COVID-19. Munjini sana fa kosi the coalition against leaders of TUC and organized labor. And you say your union leaders, no, but send your sympathizers of this administration. From 2017,
that's our politics.
Serious. From 2017, not even single strike. against this administration. But this is administration that has messed up the lives of workers. And I can testify to the fact that I buy when we need power because of workers.
But no single strike, is it not because ABI are buying a BB?
And I can say no government has messed up the life of workers in this country than this administration. Now, so you union leaders now you're quiet. Pressure free. Your coalition.
The TUC can hear pressure.
Make us pressure.
The clocks are getting pressure.
Pressure. Yeah, they to musono. Oman who say even someone say union deals a year from next year going someone say
wow.
Now because of COVID-19, let's say last year I think 20% salary increment. No, I got 4% am I. This year, you say TUC Secretary General is saying inflation 90.4%. Until they are not taking anything less than the inflation rate. Go and add our arrears now. We account 15%. We shouldn't. They shouldn't be negotiating anything. And so what? So also as I started or the inflation and the benchmark. These are leaders. If they want to do partisan politics, they should go ahead. Now, close I remember when him say politicians.
Meaning,
apart from the chairman of saying cross account beto abayino, I want also be appointed. We know, Obama can appointees in Kwan. He see, I mean, 2 million my Tracy. Obi to say that John, Director of Budget and Finance, will call retirement, basically 6 years in the where retiree. One day, a manager, active service or no, he determines how much government should pay us because he is working for his pay. Let's look at somebody like Daniel Amamo, director, 10 years in the Obi Mensa, director of who work for pension, who director of pensions, and me 30 years. I have the next 30 years to work in the civil service. When I will determine, Obi to say, Mr. Kwame Asamoah, director of grievances. Your grievances are all these things are retirees.
I'm one dance here.
Me see all these names are people you know. They are all 5 years.
But I don't want to say anything.
Say me back.
Say what we jam with me.
Obi to say Kojo
Apia Kwenu.
Krakrani.
Okay.
Deputy Executive Bampuado.
Okay.
Why retiree? Obi to say Mr. Adim Odum, Director of Revenue. Why retiree? Obi to say Nana Adai the second, Director of Logistics.
A brain to make you point.
Sir, 8 when you now a confirm a pension. Pensioners. And all these positions are by appointment.
And
more consultation. And who are those they are consulting? Even the partner obe contested, every we need a friend say crosser secretary general say chairman pono the next sponsor one. From TUC to the
so there's a problem with more regulations
from Rollins time up to now. None of these our leaders are neutral.
Azubila will tell me question. So there's a problem with Monsignor. And now go forward your banner.
I say you lay down procedures. There is a lot of loophole. And I use a loophole. No, we have leaders who are not fighting for young foreign interest. Name a buying interest. And also personal interest. Now we are on retirement. No, on Jumano.
Wow.
Now, and I get you 150 Ghana cedis, 90 Ghana cedis. And a young guy, maybe kita my masters, na me Juma. Yama me 3,000. Officer me living in luxury. No, it says that time na waje 90 cedis no. Esu se ene obi a waje 5,000 Ghana. Enti abro ena omo enti so ye oko ne Aketua 100% import na one retiree. One benefit be 1 cedi. Why should we sit down as CLOSAC members? And I'm daring all CLOSAC contributors to rise up because we cannot sit down for retirees to form the association. Almost 8 directors to be managing our affairs.
Obi Musa said that Ben identifies our problem with. That Ben.
You know, for instance, I got to know this thing less than a month ago.
Oh, that means that
and never know we are so suspicious on why retire. eso mo come manage pension scheme no omo na omo sa form pension union omo sabe manage me afa
eti akogan wa bras se omo bo ntre ha omo bo aban ntre ha se mo anya ya pede ya ye be ko strike no with this explanation o amano we use bibi sa bit makoso o ma pede no omo benya
me yem kra ascience wa sheme
na kafra
looking at age wabobo wa hayi se na me hu se na do law bi so se or chairman
wotwe enai
ebi say 84 ebi say 80 years
wow
se fa 80 years in poor oh I said na do e ba be didi attempt say bi a sebe ya dwene nya adwuma ye wo mranti a ompe adwuma aye ye wo ememburu a sebe ombetumi manage the affairs of your friend say Ghana but retirees and wakoko sesa omababen ediama omwa but communication no I had to say bia dina that's no because unso no ankasa ekan wamo mu die nim nyina enye neutral enti no say omonye neutral no mo ye politicians a enkrofo mo ase so eye politicians neutrality allowance no eye niam bia sebe men ka say bia omoye open politics and I say bibisa we have seen a contest for your friend is saying parliamentary positions be it across board near a office one be mean to me and it's a gamble but it means a time you are affiliated with the
two yes. Said the okay the trade unions congress aka say o share inflation baby da and I was saying new market tree na e dey azubila kra say baby o mukra nam no kra na nsem fata e pressure bi na am asase kasasa sana wo su hu na
yeah because me now heard the same nkrofo ene almost side with a minor almost politics na no danger neutrality allowance almost they took us through fire but I say penny for no but I now agree say penny for no appointed by Nanado and all the politics are trying as much as possible to mess of this administration. And it takes politics, your political inclusion, and the Bema will take his decision to cover the mess of an administration. What you are saying, you know, for me, it's long overdue. But may bomb price say a bias to NTM. Sabe, to me NTM kwasia shua brisa. So impenifo no because of politics omo boao and as omo cover up also be sensitive one council say oman mu ayedene finance minister so oman mu ayedene president so oman mu obi ase oman mu ayedene so oman mu ayedene how are they surviving how are they surviving
what do you say to obi obeka say and I say now say made kasasa
me put your friend saying made there one day pay mu ye de mwakwa mpoano no mwakwa ko dikenke no medi wache no mwakwa ko celebration you try budget for May Day celebration and all that you understand intino wa utu no must you wait for one day in a year before you speak up it's unfortunate but I now understand because of the political your friend is structures are they atuwa they block because if the person who is supposed to look for your welfare or no retire at the end or no craba or city allowance na or babeji akofie na nya de be free meeting na bana into I think that law must be looked at now crofo and necessary omunya sa yet even if they belong to your party I don't care but they'll be majority of the workers which they are also part to be able to have your friends some sympathy
as we like yesima be num na for your dwumadi na banawe what if we are especially with suspicion say omo dimoni mo abanadwuma for TUC clock sagn no nkron or suspicion so omo political no e dey na just pressure mo ma ene entre ha mo bo e dey pa na chese ma pedie no wombetima ya amamu anase wombetima kwa aban ho no makotwe mapede na bramo de na kire
awu se ne TUC secretary general e kan ye ene nanza no ye as workers no sa na nka ye expect so kasa 4 years ago 3 years ago Sa language, that is the language of workers. We are not begging government to serve. They have served and we deserve what we are due. But I say, Oma compromise my government, government are taking for granted. And no one before I the casano.
Hey, compromise. You kind of was hard to say yeah.
Then you compromise on what basis? And you are representing workers. We are paying you with our union money. What you can unions are. I never come from almost be a government organ. Yen juma foreign ya tie ku. And I yes me be an market to a major no. Mean Timu Biname Yenfantia and Pennyphobi. Not some pennyphone, and I'm saying you know to me sorry wa enco and a bank contrase. And Kayaketia Hunsem Sementino. Yenfas is carrying Tomoka. Nyemfa momo omo di free obi enu honoma or union ho benefit expect any say omo na ba better no omo hot aban na aban amaya ketua emuye better condition of service na ye de anije be adwuma no in say nipa we ko na so sa ko compromise na won speak wo language akweso wa small lawyer ni so on court na ni lawyer na ko du court wo san di aseneti awo abra watua ne kaso onko di asem no ebi ana union leaders yi
o kasa ya wo kan eye crocksack fon kwa ne kasa se ya na a doctor for kasa sa a nurse for kasa sa give the entire
the west among
support
them the west coalition against the leaders of TUC and organized labor no enye for only crocksack may even a teacher for they are even going through the worst situation than any other person. Your union leaders, so TUC the body of all unions. Unions in that shit TUC and I say. And it's a sample for we now compromise it. Now omone abai instead of them to speak the language of workers, they are rather speaking the language of what do you call government. Sebasana, how can government take them serious? Anything na afe close oma take union for granted. Anything na even utility allowance when I pay not no. I'm agree and no munchiano na oma bogo so because when is after a mono we had moana and tuntimi yashi now pressure free workers no unions for this time no this strike action we as workers we say we are going to support them to push this strike until we get something positive from it.
Okay,
after the utility allowance we are demanding cost of living allowance. And what TUC Secretary General said about the salary increment that will be coming this year, they will be going for tripartite committee.
Yeah.
We don't expect anything less than 36%. Because last year 4%. Workers in this country, government workers. Last year, only 4% COVID-19. Last year, 20%, almost 4%. Our rest is 16%.
Okay.
Faka this year inflation, 19. Right. Then something 30 says or let's say 40%. That is where we should start from. He shouldn't even go and be starting from inflation benchmark. Say we are not expecting anything lower than that. I think that is not the best. And workers, we have suffered enough, and we now expect government and the union leaders to work on our behalf.
Market you and about one. Last month we will say check 2 months ago check this month, who did say by this time? Any date cries and 25th. I can't remember. I
think but we receive a letter here.
Interesting.
This time, but the 25th date now, my from controller no. Only the 1 week, 2 weeks is so. The end I can't tell any papa no. And so she no and some but allowances when I boss no inconvenience allowance and I'm paying for no. And yet, or sorry, Yana.
Azubila me da say yemfa enkomo no mpem ha say abono ndu pepepe Dwabo Ase dwumadi no ye de abere akogan deputy communications officer Emma NDC amanyoko na afenso ora Azubila Adams GH no ona wote nka happy birthday and boundless happiness and endless joy throughout this year for you and many other years ensuing to you. Moro Awudu Alaji Moro Awudu Kanda menenu wo City FM is or Metro TV but we free Kevin Asante or aka DJ Rupak was saying yamen constituency no mpejao. Enjoy your day, have a blast. Within the kwame nkocha yamen yadoma yebese share Dwabo Ase. Yes sorry so ama jima nie power nie what the power mid morning Abraham Sisi. Bye bye.